Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Let me first commend you, because you're here already for almost 2 days, and most of the time you were requested to listen and to look interested. Now I think you are still interested because you look like this. And I have bad news and I have good news for you. What do you like me to start with? The bad news. The bad news is that you have to listen to me as well. The good news is that I had prepared a speech and I won't make my speech. That's the good news. I'd like to speak from the heart because I have met many of you. And I want to put this in a framework and encourage you how to take it from here. Because each of you, including me, myself, each of us has to play a role. And it's not that difficult. It's a matter of will and it's a matter of commitment. But let me start with what is important. It is important that we all over the world have the same agenda. It's Agenda 2030 and the Sustainable Development Goals. You have heard a lot about them these days, are the same goals for every country. The Sustainable Development Goals, very smart, created. Your countries have contributed to this, and they are the agenda for the future. It's a people's agenda, and it's a planet's agenda. We have to serve people, and we have to realize that we have only one planet, and we are all on the same planet. So what do we do? The decision of the decision makers in the UN was that the governments are in the driving seat. The Sustainable Development Goals have to be implemented by 2030, and they are country-owned and country-driven. So the government and the members of parliament, but also the regional and the local governments, they are on the spot. They have to lead the dance. And here in Indonesia, for instance, the president, but also the Minister of Health, co-organizer of this event, the Minister of Agriculture, and many other ministers are involved. In at least 12 of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, there is a commitment, there is a connection to food and nutrition. So be aware, you need the whole government, you need members of parliament, but it also needs society. It also needs stakeholders to be involved. Government in the lead, but we need private sector, and many of you are here. We need civil society. We need research and know-how institutions. We need UN organizations. We need investors in a better future. So you need all the stakeholders, leaving no one behind. And in the end, when you are working together, when you are reaching goal, when you are ticking box, there needs to be a win-win for everyone. Because we have promised ourselves that we will leave no one behind. And to do this, I have 3 concrete recommendations. The first recommendation for the different stakeholders, we know already that the government is in the lead and that we have to keep government responsible. The first recommendation is be ready to be invited to step out of your comfort zone. Because we need change, and we need sometimes uncomfortable change, which means that it's a challenge to make that step forward. Private sector, many private sector companies focus on contributing, and we have heard a lot of CEOs or responsible people here these days making their commitments towards a sustainable future. Good, well done. The question is it enough? Because several companies, or a lot of companies, are doing good under the chapter of social corporate responsibility. We need to bring change to the business, to the core business. We need decisions taken in the boardroom, because private sector do not serve only in future, do not serve only their investors and shareholders and the consumers and making profit out of it. No, private sector companies have to rethink their business case and making sure that besides shareholders and investors, they also serve their employees, that they serve society, and that they serve planet. And this is what they cannot do on their own. For that reason, we need civil society to guide this in a critical way. So also civil society organizations have to step out of their comfort zone. It's not only criticizing, it's not only advocacy, it's contributing to implementation, and it's contributing to become a reliable partner around the table with different stakeholders. I mentioned also the UN. The UN can contribute a lot. Demand-driven and being an alliance to the government, but also to other stakeholders in society, not only in Indonesia, but in this whole beautiful region and in every region. So the UN organizations working together, and make sure that you are working together and not only in a separate chapter, work together, join forces in order to implement this agenda, because it's a doable and a reachable agenda. This morning I was in a breakout group among researchers, and researchers are ready to do the research that is needed. But again, here the government has to set the agenda. The government has to be ambitious, and the government has to discuss with scientists and researchers what they need to take informed decisions. Informed decisions, once more, to serve people, to create sustainable food systems, to get nutrition, health, education, gender, and a lot of other topics right, and to create and to support thriving communities and a thriving society, leaving no one behind. So that's my first suggestion. Be ready to step out of your comfort zone, come to the table and think about what you are prepared to bring to the table and to work together. My second point is focus on impact. Don't start to focus on trust, because trust will develop only if you start to work together, focused on concrete challenges and on concrete impact and results. And once you have results, celebrate them, because it's so encouraging to celebrate results. It was said already yesterday by Madam Beverly Postma. She said, trust comes with creating results and celebrating results. That's true. Create win-wins, celebrate it, and gear up to move on, and meanwhile building trust. The third remark and suggestion is make sure that you are using an inclusive and transparent data system. Too often we see or hear that data are disputed, or data are not transparent, or data collection is separated. If you want to work together and if you want to reach results, be transparent and agree upon an inclusive and transparent and available data system. It will help you a lot, and it will encourage you to move on and to gear on. Because, and that's my final remark, let's make use of the decade of nutrition. It's a nice umbrella to bring the players and to bring the initiatives together in the field of sustainable food systems and nutrition. And last but not least, and this is my hope for today, not only for today, but starting today, let us make Shangri-La happen. And let us make today the first day of working together, being ready to step out of our comfort zone, and let's contribute to building Shangri-La, not only here in Indonesia, not only in Jakarta, but everywhere in Indonesia, everywhere in the Asia Pacific, and everywhere in the world. It's doable, but we people are on the spot, have to take our responsibility and focus on people and planet and thriving societies. Thank you very much.